Hey, folks, welcome back to Rugby Ascendant. And what you're about to see is part of an interesting journey. I recently spent a month in South Africa touring all over the country. And as part of my visit, I had scheduled meetings with Naas Botha in Bloemfontein. The next day with Joel Stransky at Sandton City. And the following day, on the Friday, with Victor Matfield in Linwood next to Pretoria. So that was the plan. And one of my viewers who helped set up two of those meetings said, hey, why don't you get a rugby ball and get all three of these Springbok legends to sign it? I said, that's a brilliant idea. So when I was in Rustenburg, the only chance I actually had in a jam-packed schedule to do this, I stopped at Sportsman's Warehouse and I picked up this 2023 Rugby World Cup ball. Yep, that's the one. I picked it up from Gilbert when I was in Rustenburg. Now, if the plan had gone according to everything we had in mind, I would have gotten signatures from Naas Botha, from Joel Stransky, and from Victor Matfield. But funny thing happened on the way to the forum, folks. It didn't quite work out that way. And in fact, in the end, I only have signatures from Naas Botha right there and Joel Stransky. Got them to sign in black on this side of the ball. And if you turn it over, they both signed it in gold, which is pretty cool. So here it's Naas, and then over here it's Joel Stransky. It doesn't come out quite as well there. You can't see the screen very well. But so they both signed this ball in black and in gold. So I got two, but Victor Matfield was supposed to go in this spot right here. And a little funny thing happened. I was delayed in an interview I had with Dr. Suleiman from Gift of the Givers at the Sandton City Convention Center. We were supposed to meet at 10 o'clock. He said he'd be about 15 minutes late, so it was 10:15. Gave me plenty of time to leave that interview with my tripod, my phones, my cameras, all my bags, go back to the parking garage across the street, and then get this ball and meet Joel Stransky. Well, didn't quite work out that way. By the time Dr. Suleiman got to me, it was after 11. It was about 11:30. And we finally did an interview. We were interrupted by people just coming up trying to shake his hand and disrupting. They could see us filming. But anyway, Dr. Suleiman and I finished. I literally had only a few moments to leave, run downstairs, and I met Joel Stransky outside. And as I did, Mark Oppenheimer showed up because I mentioned I'd be there. And I'm talking to Mark as Joel comes up. So I had no time. I rushed. We went over, invited Mark Oppenheimer to join us. We went over to the Sun Hotel. So I got the ball. We got Joel to sign it. You're going to see the video of Naas Botha signing this ball and Joel Stransky signing it. Those who closely follow Chris Wyatt Africa know the story of this ball. Anyway, this ball, I got those two to sign it. So Joel signed it. And then Joel had to leave. And David Ansara came. I met David while we were there. He got to meet Joel Stransky. Mark had to depart. Then Joel departed. And we waited for the staff to come and let us pay for the coffee. They never came. And I had to get to AfriForum in Centurion, which isn't exactly around the corner. So I had to rush out of there. I carried the ball in a gray plastic bag from Sportsman's Warehouse up to the till. And David Ansara offered to pay. And I said, no, I'll get it, because people have been paying for my meals and drinks. It was time for me to pay for someone. So I set the bag down on the floor and I left it. I rushed out. And then there's a whole other story about getting to AfriForum in Centurion. But needless to say, I didn't have the ball. And so Naas Botha signs in Bloemfontein, one generation of Springbok legends. And then Joel Stransky signs it, another generation of Springbok legends. And then finally, the incomparable Victor Matfield was supposed to sign it. Alas, I didn't have the ball when I met Victor. Here are the signings by Naas and Joel. And there's more to this story, so don't rush off. And what you see behind me is DHL Stadium at Greenpoint in the mother city of Cape Town during the Sevens World Cup. And that's the moon behind me. And that was when I went to Cape Town for that event, part of this trip. But before you go, I bought this 2023 World Cup ball. And what I'd like is to get you to sign it, if you don't mind. Now, I'm meeting Joel Stransky tomorrow and then Victor Matfield the next day. So if I get you to sign in black on this, and then we'll turn it over and we'll do it in gold in the other section there.
There you go.
Now let me
give
a second to dry there.
No, that's fine.
Okay. Well, I want you to do a goal on this one here. I like to rotate the ball.
See.
Yeah. So I'm a clever one, I am.
Okay.
Got it. So it's not going to get your pants in. Okay.
There you go.
Clever, huh?
There you go. That's very clever. First time I actually seen something like that.
All right, folks. So this ball is for the 2023 Rugby World Cup, as you can see. And I met with Naas Botha yesterday, Joel Stransky today, Victor Matfield tomorrow. It's going to be a unique ball. So I'm going to ask Joel to sign it on this side in black, let it dry for a second, and then sign it in gold on that side. That way I can rotate it in my studio. So leave space for Victor. Not that he needs a whole lot. Brilliant. Okay, let that dry for a second, or just try not to put on your trouser there. There you go. Come out now? Yeah, cool. Still not playing nice, is it? Oh. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's good. All right, thank you very much, Joel. Appreciate that. Cool beans. All right. Well, folks, so you saw Naas sign it, you saw Joel sign it, and here's the thing. Victor didn't sign it. But you know what? It gets even crazier and worse, and I screwed up a little bit more, but maybe not so much. Because during my trip, when I got to the Western Cape, well, I should go back. What happened was this ball was missing. How do I have this ball now in my possession? Well, I mentioned in my group on WhatsApp and Telegram that I screwed up and I left the ball behind. What happened, though, is the next morning I called the hotel and they checked. They said they'd check. Well, sometimes when you call hotels and you forget something, they fob you off. And after a couple minutes, I came back and said, "Sir, there's no ball here." I'm like, "Okay, thank you very much." Figuring I got fobbed off, I didn't worry about it. I had to rush, and I was back that evening. So the next morning I called before I left because Santon was on my way to Pretoria. So I thought that I'd run by Santon and just go ahead and go to the hotel and try to find the ball. Well, my time was tight once again, and so I had to rush, and I didn't have time to stop there. But I called them. They said they didn't have it. So I figured before I leave town and head back to the Western Cape, I would stop one more time. Anyway, long story short, I told my viewers about it, and that morning they figured out, based on my live stream with Joel Stransky, that I wasn't at the correct Sun hotel that I identified. I called the wrong hotel. Southern Sun, Santon Sun, it's all part of the Sun chain. I called the wrong hotel. They figured it out from watching the interview. It was live with Joel Stransky, and they sent one of my viewers to there, and they collected the ball, which in itself was a journey because they wouldn't just give the ball over because it wasn't their property. But I think they showed them the video and saw that it was me. And so they got the ball. And when we had our meet and greet in Pretoria that night, guess what they brought me? This ball with those two signatures. Now, that was after I met Victor Matfield, so Victor didn't get a chance to sign it. But the photograph here is in the video, so you can see I did meet Victor. I did not making it up. But the story doesn't end there, ladies and gentlemen. The story does not end there. What happened next? Well, what happened next was I have the ball. It's in my possession. I won't let it in my possession. I keep it close to me. I did leave it stored in Cape Town when I got back to Western Cape. And then I went to Hermanus and Parle, and then eventually flew to George and went to Mossel Bay in the Eastern Cape. So I left stored with at a friend's house there in Cape Town. When I came back, I collected it again and I held on to it. Well, just before I left, my last day in South Africa, well, my next to last day, my last overnight was on the 12th of September. I contacted the Rucken Mall about interviewing the owner of the Rucken Mall, which has a restaurant and museum near Stellenbosch. So on my way out of Cape Town, I drove to Stellenbosch. I got there, and turns out that Supersport or somebody was doing a filming at the Rucken Mall with Jean de Villiers. That's right, Jean de Villiers was there. So he wasn't there when I arrived, and I couldn't get in. So I thought the interview wasn't going to happen, and actually, the interview didn't really happen. But what I did do is get a chance to walk through very quickly, take a few photographs, and got a promise to do the interview later on. Well, the ball was in my suitcase in the car. And since they did me a big solid and a favor and let me see Jean de Villiers, I forgot about it. And I didn't get Jean de Villiers to sign this ball. So I could have had this ball signed by Naas Botha, Joel Stransky, Victor Matfield, and Jean de Villiers. And that would have been 3 generations of Springbok legends. Alas, just 2 have signed it. I'll be traveling back to South Africa, folks, and I will take this ball back with me. I will deflate it, and I will get them to sign it when I reinflate it in South Africa. Anyway, folks, that's the story of the rugby ball. It does have 2 signatures on it, and it will be cherished forever. And my many thanks to my viewers who went to all the trouble to get this ball back to me. I really felt like I let them down by leaving the ball behind, but it's all consequence of being rushed, folks. You can have the best plan in the world, but, as we say in the Army, no plan survives contact with the enemy. So when you cross a line of departure, everything changes. Weather, events, happenings, chance. Anyway, rushed on that day. My best laid plans went astray and I forgot the ball, but my viewers got it back to me at our meet and greet in Pretoria, which was pretty awesome. That was a whole awesome day in itself. By the way, getting the ball back. I was at Boer and Boer Beer that day and did so many other things. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks a lot. So that's the story. That is the story of the rugby ball. I hope you enjoyed it and found it interesting. Take care of yourselves. If you're not a subscriber, take a moment to become a subscriber. Just hit that button right down there. You won't be disappointed. You'll get great interviews, great color commentary and play-by-play for Currie Cup, United Rugby Championship, International Test, especially Springboks and Eagles, and World Cup coverage, as well as the HSBC 7 Series and the Olympic Sevens. Thanks a lot, folks. Take care of yourself. God bless.